Good evening. Tonight we continue part 2 of the talk, Sutta Guide to Paths and Fruits. Last Saturday we heard that to attain the first path and the first fruit, we have to practice the 4 Sottapatti Yangani, the 4 factors for stream winning. And that was first one, association with true men, those who know the true Dhamma and practice the true Dhamma, Sappurisa, true men. Second condition is you have to listen to the true Dhamma, Sat Dhamma. And we said that it has been shown that the true Dhamma is the 5 Nikayas, the earliest source of the Buddha's discourses. The third factor is focus attention when you listen to the true Dhamma. And the fourth factor is practice of the Dhamma in accordance with the Dhamma. So these are the 4 factors. If you practice these 4 factors, you will attain stream entry. And if you continue to practice these 4 factors, it will turn to fruit. We also heard that practice of the Dhamma in accordance with the Dhamma is practicing the 7 factors of the Noble Eightfold Path. So all the factors except the right one, which is the 4 jhanas. In other words, you don't even need meditation. You can attain stream entry and also Sotapanna. Now we come to the second part, how to attain the second path upwards, second path, second fruit, third path, third fruit, etc. In the Majjhima Nikaya Sutta 43, they said that after attaining right view, 5 supporting factors are needed for liberation. Sila, Dhammasavana, Dhammasakacca, Samatha and Vipassana. In other words, to progress further, you need these 5 supporting factors. Now, Sila is basically the 3rd, 4th and 5th factor of the Noble Eightfold Path, meaning right speech, right action, right livelihood. Dhammasavana is listening to the Dhamma, and Dhammasakacca is discussion of the Dhamma. These 2 can be considered to be the 7th factor of the Aryan Eightfold Path, namely right mindfulness or right recollection. Actually, recollection is a better word, recalling the Dhamma. So these are the 2. Then the 4th is Samatha. Samatha is calming the mind, attaining the jhanas, sustaining concentration. Vipassana is basically the 2 factors, the 6th and the 7th factor, which is right effort and right mindfulness or recollection. Because if you want to practice right effort, which is getting rid of unwholesome states and cultivating wholesome states, you have to contemplate those 4 objects of sati. So these 2 are related, the 6th and the 7th factor. So the difference here, these 5 supporting factors, the difference between this and the earlier we heard the 4 Sottapatti Yangani. Earlier the 4 Sottapatti Yangani is practicing the 7 factors of the Aryan Eightfold Path. This one is practicing 8. The only difference is Samatha, meaning the effort to attain the 4 jhanas. So now we see another sutta. This is the Bojjhanga Samyutta, Samyutta Nikaya 46.3. This sutta explains how to practice the factors of enlightenment. I mentioned the other day that factors of enlightenment, the 7 factors, are quite similar to the 8 factors of the Aryan Eightfold Path. So you practice these 7 factors, it's quite similar to practicing the 8 factors of the Aryan Eightfold Path, and it will lead you to enlightenment. In this sutta, the Buddha said, monks, those monks who are accomplished in virtue, that is moral conduct, concentration and wisdom, even the sight of those monks is helpful, I say. Even listening to them is helpful, I say. Even approaching them is helpful, I say. Even attending on them is helpful, I say. Even recollecting them, that means remembering them, is helpful, I say. Even going forth after them is helpful, I say. For what reason? Because when one has heard the Dhamma from such monks, one dwells withdrawn in body and withdrawn in mind. Dwelling thus withdrawn, one recollects that Dhamma and thinks it over. Whenever a monk dwelling thus withdrawn recollects the Dhamma and thinks it over, on that occasion the enlightenment factor of sati is aroused by the monk. On that occasion the monk develops the enlightenment factor of sati, recollection or mindfulness. On that occasion the enlightenment factor of sati comes to fulfillment by development in the monk. So here, this is the meaning of sati, he recollects that Dhamma and thinks it over. So sati is remembering, and here it is remembering the Dhamma and thinking it over. This word sati is often translated as mindfulness, but the problem is a lot of people think that it is general mindfulness. That is a great mistake, because when you're watching TV, you're also mindful, isn't it? And watching football, you're also mindful. So that is not the meaning of sati. Sati actually is remembering to put your attention on 4 objects. These are the 4 objects of mindfulness. So it is a specific mindfulness. It is not general mindfulness. So a lot of people confuse this. So they think in every day in your work, you are practicing mindfulness, correct? But that is general mindfulness. That is not the Buddha's mindfulness. Because in everyday life, we put our attention on things that does not bring us wisdom. You're watching TV, you're very mindful, isn't it? But that doesn't give you wisdom, isn't it? So you have to be very careful. Sati is remembering to put your mindfulness on only 4 objects which will bring you wisdom. So here sati refers to remembering the Dhamma. So this person, he associates with the monks who are accomplished in virtue, concentration and wisdom, meaning Aryans. So when he associates with Aryans, he listens to the true Dhamma. And then after listening to the true Dhamma, this person must have attained stream entry, because as a result, he dwells withdrawn in body and withdrawn in mind. What does it mean? It means he withdraws from society. He's no more that person he used to be. No more chasing after worldly things. He's no more in the mainstream of society. You find the mainstream of society, people are chasing after worldly things. A lot of people are chasing after wealth. Some are chasing after fame. They want a name. They want a title. So most people are like that. But this person after listening to the Dhamma and understanding, he withdraws from society. That is the mark of a person who has attained stream entry. He's no more like ordinary people. So that's why you find in the Gatikara Sutta, the Buddha mentioned in his previous life he met the Buddha Kassapa. After meeting the Buddha Kassapa, his good friend Gatikara persuaded the Buddha to teach some Dhamma to this our Bodhisattva, at that time the Brahmin Jyotipala. So the Buddha taught him just one discourse basically about the Four Noble Truths. After listening to that discourse, he became a monk. That means he understood no point to chase after worldly things, because one day, very soon, you will have to leave everything and pass on. And the danger is that you will pass on to the three woeful realms of rebirth. And that is very painful, very fearful. So if you realize this, you don't want to go the ordinary way, because the ordinary way is the way round of rebirths, samsara, never-ending round of rebirths. And because it is never-ending, it will turn forever. And in that long space of time, you will fall into hell countless times. You'll become a ghost countless times. You'll become an animal countless times. That's how dangerous samsara is. So once a person really understands the Dhamma, he withdraws from society. So that's what he said here. To continue, dwelling thus mindfully, he considers thoroughly that Dhamma with wisdom, examines it, makes an investigation of it. Whenever a monk dwelling thus mindfully considers thoroughly that Dhamma with wisdom, examines it, makes an investigation of it, on that occasion the enlightenment factor of investigation of Dhamma is aroused by the monk. On that occasion, the monk develops the enlightenment factor of investigation of Dhamma. On that occasion, the enlightenment factor of investigation of Dhamma comes to fulfillment by development in the monk. So here the second factor of enlightenment is investigation of the Dhamma. In other words, you listen to the Dhamma again and again. One time is not enough. The Dhamma is not like a storybook. You read once, you don't want to read anymore. The Dhamma, we have to keep hearing the Dhamma or reading the Dhamma until we pass on. Because there's nothing more valuable than the Dhamma. So this person, he investigates the Dhamma, thinks about the Dhamma, and maybe discusses with learned friends or monks about the Dhamma, so that he understands more. So from stream entry, if he starts to investigate the Dhamma more, it will turn to fruit, Sotapanna. Then the third factor, while he considers thoroughly that Dhamma with wisdom, examines it, makes an investigation of it, his energy is aroused without slackening. Whenever a monk's energy is aroused without slackening, as he investigates that Dhamma with wisdom, examines it, makes an investigation of it, on that occasion, the energy enlightenment factor is aroused by that monk. On that occasion, the monk develops the enlightenment factor of energy. On that occasion, the enlightenment factor of energy comes to fulfillment by development in the monk. So here, this third factor, he investigates the Dhamma with energy, and also he practices that Dhamma. Just now we mentioned the Sotapatti Yangani. After knowing the Dhamma, you have to practice the Dhamma in accordance with the Dhamma, meaning the 7 factors of the Noble Eightfold Path. Then after that, he develops the enlightenment factor of delight, piti, and then the enlightenment factor of tranquility, passaddhi, then the enlightenment factor of concentration, samadhi, and seventh, the enlightenment factor of equanimity, upekkha. These last four are factors of jhana. So the first three is connected with the Sotapanna. He practices the first three and he attains Sotapanna. And then after that he practices the eighth factor of the Noble Eightfold Path and he develops the four jhanas. So the first delight, piti, is associated with the first jhana. Tranquility, passaddhi, is associated with the second jhana. Concentration, samadhi, is associated with the third jhana. Equanimity, upekkha, is associated with the fourth jhana. So these are the 7 factors of enlightenment. If you practice, it brings you to enlightenment. Okay, now, so you see here again, this person to practice the 7 factors of enlightenment, he has to associate with true men who are accomplished in virtue, concentration and wisdom. Then he learns the true Dhamma. Now we come to another sutta, Anguttara Nikaya 3.86. In the Pali Text Society it is 3.85. And also Anguttara Nikaya 9.12. In this sutta it is said that the Sotapanna and the Sakadagamin have perfect sila. The Anagamin has perfect sila and samadhi. The Arahant has perfect sila, samadhi and panya. We know the Noble Eightfold Path is divided into sila, samadhi and panya. So the Sotapanna and Sakadagamin, they only have perfect sila. Anagamin has perfect sila and perfect samadhi. Perfect samadhi refers to the 4 jhanas. The Arahant has perfect sila, samadhi and panya. So the Arahant has also the 4 jhanas. This contradicts the later books like the commentaries where they talk about the pure vipassana Arahant, the Arahant without any jhana. In fact, if we look into more suttas, we find that without any jhana you cannot attain any level higher than Sotapanna. So that's the danger of relying on later books. We find later also a lot of contradictions in this, between the suttas and later books. That's why I mentioned in the Digha Nikaya, Sutta 29, the Buddha said that his teachings are perfect and complete. If you think you want to add to his words, you don't see his Dhamma, meaning you are not even a Sotapanna. So we should not rely on books which were written much later than the Buddha's time, because these people who write the books according to the Buddha, they don't see the Dhamma, they don't have the vision of the Dhamma, they are not Aryans. That's why they can say that you can have a pure vipassana Arahant. It contradicts many places in the suttas. This is one of them. Now, what is the difference between the Sotapanna and the Sakadagamin? The Sotapanna has destroyed 3 factors. The Sakadagamin has destroyed 3 factors and reduced greed, hatred and delusion. Now, to reduce greed, hatred and delusion, you need samadhi, concentration, because greed and hatred is part of the 5 hindrances. So, in my opinion, the Sakadagamin, the second fruit attainment Arya, he must have either the first, the second or the third jhana. When he has first, second or third jhana, this is not perfect samadhi. Perfect samadhi is 4 jhanas. So because he has 1 or 2 or 3 jhanas, he can reduce greed, hatred and delusion. Now we come to another sutta, Anguttara Nikaya 4.61. In this sutta it is said that one who is accomplished in wisdom, one with great wisdom, has eliminated the 5 hindrances. And in the Bhujanga Samyutta, it is said that a person whose mind is obsessed by the 5 hindrances cannot have any wisdom. Now, so this wisdom, the less the 5 hindrances, the greater the wisdom. You eliminate the 5 hindrances, you have great wisdom. Now, how is this? The other day I mentioned that the hindrances are called hindrances if the sensual desire, ill will, sloth and torpor, restlessness and worry and doubt, these 5 things by themselves are not called the 5 hindrances. They're only called the 5 hindrances when they are very strong, they obsess the mind frequently, then only they are called the 5 hindrances. But if they are low, they don't obsess the mind, then they don't obstruct you, so they are not called hindrances. So I gave the simile of the 5 hindrances being similar to 7 feet tall lalang grass, tall grass. If you walk through the jungle, in front of you is 7 feet tall lalang. As you walk through it, it's a big hindrance, because you cannot see in front of you. If there's a tiger behind the grass also, you don't know, And then also as you walk through the lalang, it cuts you. Cuts your hands, cuts your face, cuts your feet. So it's a big obstruction. But if it were to cut down to 12 inches, it's no more an obstruction. It's very clearly is there, isn't it? So when a person attains the first jhana, the hindrances have fallen so low, as though from 7 feet to 12 inches, 1 foot. When he attains the second jhana, the lalang, the grass, becomes 8 inches. When he attains the third jhana, it becomes 4 inches. It's still there, you can see, no more an obstruction. But when he attains the fourth jhana, it goes down to 1 millimeter. So little. So the Buddha said, the first 3 jhanas are perturbable, shakeable. So when the strong wind blows, these 12 inches, 8 inches, 4 inches can shake, can move. But if it's 1 millimeter, strong wind comes also, it doesn't move. So that's why there's a difference between the different levels of jhana. So the higher level of jhana you get, the greater your wisdom. That's why the Buddha mentioned that anagamins and arahants, because they have the fourth jhana, they have javana panya and hasa panya. Basically it means sharp wisdom and deep wisdom, profound wisdom. So when you attain the four jhanas, you have profound wisdom. That the steps leading to enlightenment are connected with the jhanas are confirmed by a sutta in the Anguttara Nikaya. In Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi's translation, it is Sutta number 7.69, while in the Pali Text Society translation, it is Sutta number 7.65. In this sutta, the Buddha likened the stages in the blooming of the heavenly Parichataka coral tree flower to the stages in the blooming of wisdom in a monk. And the stages in the blooming of wisdom leading to enlightenment are said to be the first jhana, second jhana, third jhana, fourth jhana, and then destruction of the asavas, that is, attainment of arahanthood. In other words, the 4 jhanas are essential for enlightenment. Now we come to another sutta, Majjhima Nikaya 108. In this sutta, Venerable Ananda was asked what type of meditation is praised by the Buddha. And he said the first jhana, second jhana, third jhana, fourth jhana. And he also said the type of meditation not praised by the Buddha is the type of meditation where the 5 hindrances are not eliminated. In other words, if you attain the first, second, third or fourth jhana, the 5 hindrances are eliminated. And it's eliminated long term. It's not just that when you are in the jhana, it is eliminated, and then when you come out, it comes back again. No. what happens is that when you attain the jhanas, the mind is so focused that these 5 things are like the lalang cut down. They become so low. So when you come out of that state also, it remains low. It is there. Sensual desire is still there. Ill will is still there, etc. But it is very low. So it's no more a hindrance. So this sutta implies that when you attain the 4 jhanas, the hindrances are eliminated. Secondly, this sutta shows that the Buddha's meditation is the 4 jhanas. It's very unfortunate. Sometime a few years ago, I read one famous monk saying that jhanas are not the Buddha's meditation. He said jhanas are external sect meditation, and he said the Buddha's method of meditation is vipassana. Unfortunately, during the Buddha's time, there was no vipassana meditation. It's very clear from the suttas. Vipassana meditation was created many centuries after the Buddha. And one of the reasons was because later monks found it very difficult to attain the jhanas, because they don't go into seclusion like the Buddha's Arahant disciples. So they find it difficult to create, to attain the jhanas. So they created this vipassana meditation. In the Buddha's time, vipassana is something that you practice in everyday life. The 7th factor of the Noble Eightfold Path, because it is associated with the 6th factor, right effort. To practice right effort, for us to get rid of our unwholesome states, we have to observe our mind, what we think. We have to observe our feelings. If anger, strong anger comes up, you have to observe it, you have to notice it. That way, you change your character. That is what cultivation is about. Siu Sing is Siu Sing Wei. So the type of the Buddha's meditation is the 4 jhanas. Now, another sutta is Majjhima Nikaya 68. The Buddha said, while he still does not attain the delight, piti, and bliss, sukhang, that are secluded from sensual pleasures and secluded from unwholesome states, or to something more peaceful than that, covetousness invades his mind and remains. Ill will invades his mind and remains. Sloth and torpor invades his mind and remains. Restlessness and remorse invades his mind and remains. Doubt invades his mind and remains. Discontent invades his mind and remains. Weariness invades his mind and remains. When he attains the delight and bliss that are secluded from sensual pleasures and secluded from unwholesome states of mind, or to something more peaceful than that, covetousness, ill will, sloth and torpor, etc., does not invade his mind and remain. So here it's quite clear, this term, attaining the delight, piti and bliss, sukha, that are secluded from sensual pleasures and secluded from unwholesome states, this refers to the 1st jhana. And then, or something more peaceful than that, refers to the higher jhanas. So when a person attains the jhanas, these things, covetousness, which is equivalent to sensual desire, and then ill will, sloth and torpor, restlessness and remorse, doubt, etc., does not invade his mind and remain. That means once you attain the jhanas, these 5 things does not obsess your mind anymore, does not remain anymore. So it shows that once you attain the jhanas, these 5 hindrances are eliminated. They are reduced to such a low level that they are not considered hindrances anymore.